Washington Web, go. We're waiting on you.
Microphone activated. Microphone muted.
Okay, you're done. So next up is Class 55 Deltic, and then I'm going to add myself. Go. 60 seconds.
Okay. You state that your views on the Middle East have been formed based on, you say, personal and physical attacks by Middle Easterners. What you need to understand is that in the aftermath of 9/11, in the weeks and months afterward, there were many legal American citizens, and some Canadians actually, who were not Muslim, who were actually Sikh, which is an Indian religion. They were attacked by Americans because they perceived that they were Muslims and were thus involved in the attacks. So I'm posing this question to you. Isn't that the exact same thing, judging an entire cultural or ethnic group based on the absolutely reprehensible actions of a small number? You obviously can't extrapolate the actions of a few to thousands, millions of people. You simply can't do that. So isn't that doing the exact same thing, presupposing that everyone is bad because you found a few?
So I'm going to answer your question right about now. Your answer as to how can you or can you, judge of people or actions based on the actions of few? The answer to that question is yes. So next up, Watchdam Web. Saudi Arabia is the capital of Wahhabist movement, blah, blah, blah. Why are we not bombing it? Because we only, this is a complicated war, and while not all Muslims are terrorists, they pose a significant threat. And listen, if terrorists are, there's no such thing as terrorists that aren't Muslims in this world right now. There's no group right now that exists that does bombings and things like that that is not Muslim. So if the only people that we have to suspect of these bombings are Muslim, then of course we're going to target Muslims first. That only makes sense. And that's not racism. That's just being reasonable. All right? The whole thing with random airport searches, of course we're not going to target like Jews, for instance, because Jews aren't the ones that's bringing the Trade Center or whatever. So yeah, not all terrorists are Muslims, but there's a small percentage of them, and that's enough for me, okay? And I'm going to, now it's Tice's turn.
Yeah, so, why aren't we bombing those other place in Saudi Arabia? I mean, I think it's totally reasonable if we would start bombing, because it might be a sensitive issue, but I'm pretty sure all Muslims want to kind of blow up a couple Americans. Airport searches. That's why certain people are targeting them, because they're terrorists. I mean, it's simple as that. I'm done.
Okay, next up is SU22. Go. 1 minute.
Hello. First of all, all terrorists are Muslims, yes? Would you agree with that statement?
Yes.
If so, would you care to explain the existence of groups like the Irish Republican Army, ETA, and the whole Red Army faction, and a whole host of other terrorist organizations which were not Muslim?
You done? All right, yeah, you're done. Next up, Deltic. Go. 60 seconds.
I'd like to pose to you the same question. If you haven't heard of them already, you should look up the Ulster Defense League, a Protestant Christian terrorist organization, the Irish Republican Army, a socialist terrorist organization, the Jewish Defense League, obviously a Jewish terrorist organization, the Lord's Resistance Army, an Ugandan Christian terrorist organization, and there's plenty of others. Let's see, the Ku Klux Klan, which has definitely instigated bombings and murders, lynchings in their time in the United States. So that's 4 or 5 groups that simply disprove your point. I don't get what you're trying to say here. Are you saying that Islamic people or Muslims or Arabs have some sort of propensity for committing terrorist acts? I don't get what your point is here, because I've just disproved it, and I'm done.
All right, Tice is up next for 60 seconds. Go.
So I don't know if these like numbers that these people keep posting on like the live stream, but if you if you faggots could like stop doing that, that'd be like really cool. And also those people aren't like technically terrorist organizations because they're kind of just like fighting the terrorists. Sorry, I'm done.
Okay, next up is me. So the terrorist thing, like, yeah, okay, there's a bunch of groups, but those are criminals, not terrorists. I mean, they might be armed criminals, they might be dangerous political movements, but they are what is referred to as, for instance, splinter groups, or factions, or warlords, individuals. And that is what I think, too. They're not terrorists. Terrorist is classified as a person who uses very specific methods, and these methods are specific only to Al-Qaeda and various Muslim groups, such as Al-Shabaab, Al-Gamerhood, Al-Qaeda, and the rest. That is what terrorist means, and this is not up for debate. This is a fact of nature, and if you can't handle the facts, and I would like to remind you that this is a true world where facts get spoken, and ideal and actual real-life material, and fact-based things, and not actual, basically large talk spun by you people. This whole thing of these, you're going and talking large, like as if this is actually something that is going to be substantial, but it's really not. What all you're saying is what is called smoke and mirrors, and that's all my time. So next up is Class 55 Deltic. Go.
Okay. Look up the Wikipedia page on the Jewish Defense League, and you'll see within the first paragraph that it specifically says that the JDL was classified as a right-wing terrorist organization by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. That is the justice arm of the United States government. And I'd hesitate to think that you know more about what constitutes terrorism